It's the pre-market ritual you never knew you needed. Get ready to gap and go with the Calum Trading Institute.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Gap and Go. Um, Maybe the best way to describe the last 2 weeks, again, has been changing in narrative once again, especially with inflation data coming out, more tariffs coming out about the last 2 weeks, uncertainty, and so we'll probably digest everything that has happened. A lot of good stuff actually. So maybe we can start off, Jason. Maybe you can share your thoughts first on what's happening on the recent macroeconomic data.
Uh, okay, I think after the huge decline on April Liberation Day, we're back at new highs on the S&P, US markets, diba? And I think that we just have to be prepared for volatility, diba? Kasi, like I think by August, around 40% of the S&P 500 is going to be reporting earnings. And diba, nasa taas na yung market, right? And I think yung pivotal in September, right? The market's expecting the Fed to resume its rate cut cycle. 60% chance of 25 basis points rate cut. And by the end of the year, the market's actually pricing in 2 to 3 rate cuts. Diba? That's why parang nagkaroon ng konting jitters yung market like the other night when inflation data came out and parang may uptick on the headline figure, right? And of course, you have to mix all of the Trump stuff with all those things, diba?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think on all fronts, when we look at it, many things are already priced in. And
Yeah. Oh.
even to be honest, 2Q earnings, I feel like it's already priced in. Especially going to the second half. In fact, we might see some acceleration happen on US tech. The
Yeah.
surprising part about everything Seguro today is is that narrative of okay, inflation's coming down, or is it still going to be sticky? And I think the commodities is what everybody's watching out for. So we've seen some movement, especially in copper the last 2 weeks, concerns on other commodities accelerating in the last 2 weeks, although many are still down there. Everybody's worried that that might spur, another level of inflation. And that might be like the ones before, right? That's not what we're talking about. But if this still accelerates to 3, 4%, I think that's what the market is trying to price in recently.
Uh, I think on commodities, I'm not too worried. Kasi parang if you look at energy prices, they're still down there, diba?
Mm.
Diba? So, yeah, metals can be concerned, but tingin ko what's driving metals really is more of government policy, diba? Kasi you have this world of trade wars, war, protectionism, diba? So parang people are scared, I think, na hindi na parang free-flowing yung goods, diba? So like for example, if you look at the US, yung MP metals, right? I mean, exploded. Diba?
Sorry,
Kasi
what?
yung MP.
Ah, rare earth.
Yeah, kasi why? Kasi the US is dependent on China for rare earth metals. They use that for weapons, right? Okay, so now the US government has a policy, the Department of Defense took a 15% stake in the company. Kasi hindi lang yun, parang they set a floor on the price where the government will buy the metals. Diba? So syempre, there's some excitement in that space, right? Kasi I think that, people are figuring this out eh. That, okay, you need all kinds of metals for, wrapping up your defense spending, for bringing back manufacturing, for like stuff like AI kasi needs a lot of power, electricity, diba?
In fact, one of the, I mean, despite all these things happening on the commodities front, I think one of the major concerns or uncertainty that's really plaguing the market is what's next for the Fed. I think there are some rumors this morning about President Trump actually firing
Yeah.
Powell, right? And if you look at the 2 year, I don't know, it feels like a very different message. So if you look at the 2 year, it's actually sitting way below the 200-day. It looks like it's going to head downwards, right? But you look at the long-term treasury, it's looks like it's painting a different picture. One looks like it's going up, the other one looks like it's going down. So I don't know if um, the market's already pricing in, okay, we're gonna cut interest rates, which might spur inflation, and that's the reason why people are
Yeah.
asking for a higher risk premium for long-ended duration.
I think that's exactly it. Parang it's called the steepening of the yield curve, diba? Diba? Kasi the short end prices in what the Fed will do, and the long end prices in what the market thinks is the impact of what the Fed will do, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how much more risk premium can you ask for? I think that's the biggest question mark. Markets are really trying to find out for.
Oh, personally, honestly, I think that unless inflation really accelerates, I think it's already priced in,
I
diba?
also agree.
So para for me, if like, okay, mild uptick in inflation, parang tingin ko, it's already
Price
priced
in
in.
na dapat yan di ba?
Priced in na yun
Yeah. Okay. Brian, one of the we talked about lots of themes, diba? Especially the other themes that are coming about. Um, Bitcoin, gold, uh, looks like it's still, I don't know, the safe haven asset play, right? And then if you look at the weakness in the dollar and where the dollar is going to be heading, a lot of concerns on that end. And that's the reason why also other cryptos, especially the stable coins, which are all sitting on the platform, for example, like on Ethereum and in Ripple. Looks like all of them are in play as actually. So I don't know what other segments you're also looking at. Even some IPOs that have outperformed Circle.
So there's a lot. So apparently, I guess the market has established a certain level of interest rates, like 4 to 5%, diba? So the market looks to be looking into higher growth to compensate for this. If you look at what's happening in the US against the backdrop of all volatility, mga growth stories in AI, in your energy, mga alternative energy, may SMR, Oklo,
Grabe.
yung mga yan. Kasi if you compare them to China, China production of electricity, it's like China is like 3-4x of US currently. So may
Oh,
pent up ano talaga eh. Parang emergency na nga eh. Close to emergency. They really can't compete without cheap energy. And even
ah, may fun fact ako dyan, Inabasa ko, the computational needs of AI is yung electricity that you need is doubling every 100 days. Yun na lang.
I
So,
believe so. I believe so that's the case. And even if you're even your ano solar issues, TAN, if you look at TAN mean reverting, so apparently the time to go online for this is faster than your nuclear. So mga 17 months lang. So even though out of favor by the Trump administration, still parang may laban pa din. Kasi nga immediate need na talaga. So aside from that, yung mga we're looking at your space mga new industries eh. So your high growth is can be found in the new industries like yung space industry, may Rocket Lab, diba? Black Sky, and your ASTS. So it's really a new business that the Philippines will not be able to participate in.
Well, just to add
I'm so
lang
sorry.
some facts about, let's say, what's happening on China. 25 reactors currently under construction, and this accounts for half of all the nuclear construction worldwide. Um, Last I checked with the US, under construction, zero.
Zero.
So although they have a higher total capacity, I think the biggest question mark is how fast will the new adoption behind the new SMR technology is going to have, right? So I think that's what we're all waiting for.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult because I think first and foremost, you have to change their you have to change their immigration rules, yung mga HB1 nila. Kasi all the nuclear physicists are in China. So, di ba?
So
Wala, personal wise,
I know
nandun
this is semi, if you guys watch Ronnie Cheng,
Mm.
he's a comedian, and he was laughing about it because "Make America Great Again" is true because they are not great. And the funny part is the main reason why it's because they've been transferring all these manufacturing jobs to everywhere else in Asia so that they can produce in high value. The problem is in terms of math, science, they're lagging behind the whole world compared to Asia. And so how do you get high value if your workforce is also not as smart?
Oh,
Bro, alam mo yung,
make America do homework great.
So make America do homework again though.
yeah, actually, yung isa nakakatawa, I watched the Grok update, yung Grok 4, and yung mga katabi ni Elon Musk na top AI scientists are all Asian.
Yeah, all Asians. Yeah, that's the part of the bottleneck there. So it's a big one. So I think, but I'm so sure they'll change policy to be able to accommodate that. Kasi really, the competition with technology is really, parang ito na eh, nangyayari na eh.
And that's always the how fast can China actually ramp up and catch up in, probably the most important industry, which is the semiconductor. So one of the things that happened also last week was that, okay, US started opening up chips for sale for the rest of the world. They're H20 chips, right? Or H10 by H20, H20 ata.
20, oh.
So the point being here is that Jensen Huang said, just sell the H20 because China already has the equivalent of H20, which is true. And if you don't sell to the world, everything else will be Huawei chips in the future, right? That's the reason why I talked about the digital belt and road, which for me, like, absolutely makes sense because you let somebody not do business in China. Eventually, they'll catch up to you, which is exactly what's happening today. In fact, in the railway, in the high-speed railway, I don't know if you guys read yesterday, Beijing to Shanghai in 2 hours. Okay. And the fastest speed is 600 kilometers per hour. Like that's ridiculous. That's faster than an airplane. And obviously, these are the certain types of technology you're going to be seeing from China going forward.
Parang QC2 alabang lang yun.
And that's the reason why when we're talking about Hong Kong and China, valuation supported. You look at HSTECH in Hong Kong sitting at 16 times PE. I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's still relatively cheaper compared to the US. Obviously, margins are a different story because NY FANG margins are extremely higher. But 15 times PE versus another country that's trading at 13, 14 times, parang pwede na rin ng HSTECH. I mean, that's the reason why I'm fairly positive on it, right? So to answer your question, Bri, about China rare earth, you have companies, for example, like China Molybdenum, also selling rare earth. Great profitability, sitting at 10, 11 times PE. So with higher prices, I think these guys should still benefit. So I think we're seeing many of these themes happen also elsewhere, especially in Hong Kong and China.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff in the technology space. Even your batteries, yung battery sector. So apparently those batteries are needed in
Everything.
machine learning. Kasi if in machine learning, you need to have stable power. Hindi pwedeng fluctuating. So you need that may bypass pa ng battery first before.
But you're correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're seeing more adoption, for example, like in the rollout in solar. That's the reason why energy storage and battery storage is so important. That's the reason why BYD, CATL, even if you have solar, you still need the battery pack.
Yeah,
right? Looks like that's the case because even not just solar, but even your lithium looks like it's reversing.
So in the battery space, you have your QS,
Hindi pa naman ata adoption yun eh.
So pang
Speculative
EV
pa lang
siya,
ata to eh.
pang EV siya. So, I guess benefiting from the sentiment.
Yeah, that one I agree. It's benefiting.
Also,
A lot of these guys are benefiting from the sentiment, diba?
ENVX,
Correct?
and even AMPX. Ito na una na to eh. This is
Sorry, what?
AMPX.
AM?
PX. This guy's executing more parang currently executing. So may advanced stage than ENVX to eh.
Hmm.
So those things. Then your IPO, yung circle mo, yung mga
Yeah.
crypto related, mga ang tawag dyan, crypto related and stable coins. Yeah, stable coins.
But I agree, it's the energy storage that's doing well.
Yeah, everything is all these technologies require that energy and then energy source.
Hmm. Okay. I think that's the anything
Those
else
are the
about
main.
Hong Kong, US mega trends that we're seeing?
Sa Hong Kong, I think you have your 1788, which is related to your stable coins also. So anything that's attempting to have a business like this. And even yung VS, I forgot the ticker. VS Tex. VS Tex. VSTES, tama. What number is that? VSTEC. VSTECS. Ayan, 856. 856. Ano yung 856, Edmund?
Sorry.
856. Ayan. So this one's recently announced that they're looking into, doing stable coins also. So yun lang, that's what I see in Hong Kong also. That's really current, similar to the US.
Okay. DXY has rallied a bit coming from major oversold territory. Again, we always talk about it's always still a buy low, sell high type of environment. Questions about PSE about yesterday. I was asking, I'm not really concerned about it. I think the problem is you're just expecting this one to break out, right? And I told everybody, you just got to keep your expectations in check. At the end of the day, this is still me. It's still a buy low, sell high. In fact, this could just stay here and then rally back. I wouldn't be surprised also, right? Except that, just keep your expectations in check with regards to wherever you are. I don't think we're going to see a runaway in global markets. In emerging markets.
I think yesterday, I think it's largely because of SMS and Prime placeout.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, at least may chance to buy tayo, diba? So I'm not so worried about it. I think you'll probably just see this quiet like a few more days and then probably still there.
I think if you look at the index again, tingin ko it's like the money jerk in the past few months, tapos na.
Well, most exciting story is still what's gonna happen to the gaming. I think everybody is watching out for. I should have showed the chart of this one. There was data yesterday of all the influencers that were banned for soliciting illegal websites that are related to gambling. Did you guys see that?
No, actually, no. First time.
Like, the number one influencer had 43 million followers. And he was promoting illegal websites for gambling.
Sheesh.
43 million followers. In fact, in total, parang kinumpit ko, parang 120 to 130 million followers on total. So that's even more than the population of the Philippines. But of course, there's
So he's banned. He's banned.
common followers, diba? Pati si Big Boy Cheng nandun eh. Tawa ng tawa eh. So I think that's the other part is you can't ban online gambling because I really believe somebody's gonna do it illegally, right? So I think the important part here is just to regulate it and increase minimum bet, diba?
Oh.
Nonetheless, I think this actually should be good for Bloom.
Mm.
So plus the sentiment, I think if they ban it, should be good for the local casinos. Or if they
Bloom
regulate it, should also be good for the local casinos.
or web also. Web ba may ano?
Wala na.
Wala yung web.
Tara na yung trading view. Okay. I think we're seeing some level of distribution and acceleration happening on the banks, and I assume it's because of the coming rate cut. In fact, short-term deposits have actually started trending down. I think people are worried about, well, foreigners are worried about the earnings in the next few years, especially with having lower CASA income on that end, and whether bank lending would compensate that, which I don't think so. But it's just that's the reason why you're seeing a foreign sell-off happen on all your banks. Other than that, meron pa ba?
Well,
And we're seeing
I think we have the best tariff rate in the region according to April. It's 20, just 20%.
well, we're not exporting anything. I think
Yeah.
it's a negligible. It's negligible as long as they don't tax the human exports and the remittances from US to Philippines. I think everything else is fine.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll be sending people to Mars.
All right. I think that's pretty much it for today's Gap and Go. Again, I think the markets are building in some level of, how would I put it? Complacency, I would say. I mean, it's good that markets are already sitting at new high. I think most of the news, in fact, that we read are already priced in. Everything has just been channel-like formation. And this has been something that we've been stressing, which I also think will just continue. So even upside might be minimal, but again, this thing could just channel higher. That's the reason why we've been focused on individual sectors and the hot sectors. We've been naming it the last 2 weeks, including today. So the last 2 weeks, you've had your nuclear, you had your quantum scapes, you have your EV batteries. Then the last 2 weeks, you've had your stable coins and safe haven assets that have been outperforming. So again, at the end of the day, we're just here participating in the hot sectors, and I think that should be the case for everyone also trading this market. Similarly, emerging market has sold off a bit. I'd largely blame it because of the strength of the dollar. But really, what's triggered last night or yesterday's sell-off has been SM and SM Prime. I don't think it's too much of a concern. I think what you'll see here is still a buy low, sell high type environment. And once it starts to quiet down, you can find ways for your entry and for your participation. All right. So with that, guys, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a good day, guys.